Hello, I am David Granados. I am Colombian. I'm not going to tell you my age. I am an English teacher at Yildiz Technical University. And today I'm going to talk about motivation. Motivation is very important for you as students because, and for the teacher too, because if the student is not motivated to learn English, this is going to be very difficult for both you and the teacher. So I'm gonna explain it in this way. There are three kinds of motivation. There is intrinsic motivation, there is extrinsic motivation, and there is integrative motivation. So the first one, intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is just something that comes from inside you. It's just something that you want and it's something that you love. So if you have intrinsic motivation, it's because I want to do it. It's because you want to do it. Just think of a time that you had this kind of motivation. For example, you wanted to learn how to play the guitar. And why did you want it? Because you love doing this. So this is your intrinsic motivation. The second one is the extrinsic motivation. The extrinsic motivation is the one that comes from outside. This one is not so good because it's like, for example, when you have to pass an exam, so you have to study a lot and that is your motivation. It comes from outside and not from inside. So this is not a good motivation. Another example of extrinsic motivation is, for example, your boss tells you, you have to learn English because otherwise I'm going to fire you. So that is not a good motivation. So the ideal motivation is the intrinsic motivation. So for you guys, I advise you this one. The third motivation is the integrative motivation. This motivation, it's like a mix between the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So for example, you want to be part of a community, and to be part of that community, you have to learn English. Let's say that you want to travel to England. But in order to do that, I mean, you should learn English. It's not a must, it's not I want, but it's like a should. Like you should learn English to travel to England. So it's like a mix between the two previous motivations. So you as a student, I advise you to do the intrinsic motivation because it comes from inside of you. Many students have this motivation. They just want to learn English because they love it. Okay, so my advice for the students is to do the intrinsic motivation because this is the best motivation that you can have. It comes from inside. It's something that you really want to do it. Many students have this motivation, I know that, and generally they're the best of the classroom. However, there are other students that they have the extrinsic motivation. You have to learn English because you want to pass the exam. I don't advise you to do that. However, if you want to do, let's just think of this question. Just think of one time that you had intrinsic motivation. Just put that in your head and remember that feeling. Remember that you were like, you wanted to learn the guitar. What was that like? Imagine that you wanted to and you researched about it, and that is the best feeling that you can do. Just try to shape this feeling for English. So if you want to have a better performance in your classes, just think of it as an intrinsic motivation. It's something that you want because it's going to be useful for you. So just make it yours. This is going to be good for you. So I'm going to tell you a story. Maybe it's going to last 1 or 2 minutes. One time when I was in high school, I didn't like dancing. I hated dancing, but we had this mandatory dancing lessons and we had to dance and I hated it. I didn't like that. However, I had a motivation, my teacher. She was a very good-looking girl. So I effort myself. I made a big effort, and I was able to deliver at the end. And at the end, I started loving dancing, and now it became intrinsic motivation. So you can shape that motivation. If you don't like English in this moment, it's okay. I understand. But maybe you can't trick yourself. Just make it. Just love it. I mean, learning languages is great. It's going to take you far. It's going to take you to many places. So my advice is that change that extrinsic motivation to intrinsic. Love the language. You can do it. So I hope this helped you for your classes. It's just a small advice that I can give you, and try to shape that motivation for your best. Bye.